So welcome to the first in a series of videos that I'll be calling drills and skills. What we're going to do in this series is look at a very specific part of the player's swing. We'll tell you what we did to change and improve the ball flight, the drills we used, and although that's going to be very specific to that individual, not something you should pick up straight away because it's not aimed at anyone other than the person that was in that lesson. We're going to follow this up with games, tasks that anyone can do to improve their ball flight if you're struggling with the same issues. In this first video, we'll look at how the hold, and left hand in particular, has a big influence on how you can swing the club. So just finished an online lesson, and in this case was talking to the player about the importance of, in this case, the left hand and how it affecting his ball flight, which is a slice. Now, most of you will know, because you've seen other YouTube videos, that when you slice it, the club is open in relation to the club path. But there's lots of ways to get the club face open. In this case, it was very much down to where the left hand was. So quite a weak grip, quite a palmy grip. Now, palmy would mean running up through the middle of your hand in here. So you've got these two pads, your thumb and heel pad, and in this case, club was going up through the middle of those two. Now, when you get it in the palm of your hand like that, you're going to see the fingers run at this very awkward angle, or sort of 45 degrees, the actual club. Now, does a couple of things. As well as it being weak, so over this way, which we'll talk about in a second, and when it's in the palm, it's so bad for producing speed. Imagine if you're going to throw a golf ball, you go more into the fingers. Yep, and you can move your wrist a lot more. If I put that in the palm to try and produce any force, any speed, doesn't really work. Same in left and right hand. So, weak grip, palmy grip, club face getting open. We need to change this first of all. So, this is all about routine and a couple of checkpoints you can use to make sure that left hand is, if needed, and this is just, like I've said in all these videos, this is just for this individual. We are going to talk about drills you can do to check and measure if you are, performing better on the driving range. But for this player, left hand was really important. So some things you can check if you're looking for a more neutral or stronger grip. So I mentioned it already, if it's running through the palm of your hand and your fingers are not perpendicular to the grip, this is not a great place for producing speed, and in this case, getting the club face open. So we need somehow to get it more in the top of the fingers, base of the fingers here rather, and the heel pad more on top of the club. So let's do a few checkpoints. Let's talk about why that happens in the palm anyway. Now, almost everyone, especially when you're starting, will get the club on the ground in this position and then just place the hand on the club. Now, as soon as I do that, it sets it in a position that it's just running up the palm anyway. So taking hold of the club when it's on the ground is not great if you're just going to put your hand on from what is sort of a natural position where my fingers are pointing down straight into there, straight into the palm of the hand. So we need to get the club off the ground in the air. A couple of ways of doing this. If you're going to stand upright like this, just let your arms hang down. So we've got the toe of the club pointing up. Now you can see all of a sudden my left hand and the fingers are already perpendicular to that grip, to that shaft. So if I get my hand on there and grab it, and now I look down, all of a sudden I've got a very different position. I can see lots of knuckles here. This is going extra strong now. Lots of knuckles visible as I look down there, but the fingers very much perpendicular to this grip. And now we can tweak how weak and how strong you go from there. So the nearer I go to my fingertips, the stronger that is going to get. So crazy amounts there. No one can hold a club like that. If I go nearer the base of the fingers towards the hand, but not in the palm, and then grip it, slightly weaker, but weaker without being in the palm, which is a really important bit here. So that you can play about with depending on what ball flight you're looking for, but we're trying to get it out of the palm. Another check you can do, if you take your hold like you were in the palm, grab it. Last three fingers off, lift your thumb up, and it's gone. If I go heel pad on top, which will secure it now, last three fingers off, thumb up, pretty standard check you can do. And then looking down from the front, can certainly see a few more knuckles than I would do if it was in the palm. This one you've got to be careful with though, because I can still rotate my hand round, have a very palmy grip. You can see the angle of the fingers there, but now I can see lots of knuckles. This still isn't great. So it's more important to get it away from the palm in to the top of the fingers in there. So now the left hand was a little bit more secure on the golf club, and then the right hand interlocking, overlapping, we didn't mind too much from there. So just really trying to get that left hand in the right place to help with some club head speed and to control the club face. So ways of doing it, I don't mind. Just get the club up in the air. I tend to use this a lot, toe pointing up, put your hand on, up and down in the fingers for how strong or weak you want it, but it's not in the palm. Out in front, I don't mind either. This time leading edge completely flat. If you get your left wrist pretty flat, most people grab this like they're on a bike, so it's pretty straightforward. Feels normal to them there. It might feel weird when it goes down to the ground. And if when you take this different hold and you put it down to the ground, you see your club face turn in, don't worry, don't re-grip it, because then you'll go back into the palm. So from here or here, that will feel normal. Put it down behind the golf ball. Your club face will want to point left because your hand's going to want to turn back to default. It's going to want to go here. All you have to do is keep your hand secure in there, bring your arm round, bring your wrist round, so your club face is now at the target or at your target. You'll probably see some shaft lean as well, which is completely fine. But as long as we don't re-grip, once you've got it in a good place here, you're fine. So that's all about routine. So take your time with that in your hands. Your mates might take the piss if you're doing this every single shot, but it won't take long before it becomes a bit of a habit, a bit of a routine. And all of a sudden you'll be on the golf course, club at your bag, on it goes, little adjustment, and you're there. Something you can do at home, in the office, wherever. It's not a great chore to, watching Netflix with a golf club, just getting your hand in the right place and seeing how it looks when you put it down, because it will look and it will feel, and it should feel weird. If it feels the same, you're just not doing it. Let's check out what drills we can do to check the new ball flight. So as well as this player having a massive change in the club face because of the change in hold, tend to have to go that route first for someone that slices the golf ball, because if you're hitting the ball to the right all the time, you guys know that to draw, you've got to swing and have a club path out to the right. But if you do that with a face that's open to the path you're on, it's even further right. So generally for most players, changing the club face in whatever way to see the ball go left is the route we tend to go, and it was in this case as well. So even if you're starting and you're changing your slice and that becomes a bit of a pull hook, really don't mind. If you've changed your relationship between the path and the face, so seeing the ball curve the opposite direction, short term, even missing left is completely fine. Anyway, in this case with this player, we've also worked on some rotation to help shift his club path more to the right and to make sure the club face with this new hold is just inside that. So as well as some turning work, little challenge he had, and a little challenge you can do if you want to measure how well you're doing is, let's say 5 golf balls. If you've got a drill, something like this, to encourage your club path out to the right, I don't mind that when you're learning, that's completely fine. Making sure for these 5 shots that every time, if you are working on your hold, you go into here and you do that as part of your routine every single time. Now, here's the challenge we're going to do. Here's the task. 5 shots, anything with a left to right curve, which if you're on a simulator or TrackMan or any launch monitor, you'll be able to see. You'll be able to see the ball flight anyway if you're not. Anything with a left to right curve is -1 point, even if you hold it. Okay, so left to right, if you're not trying to hit a fade or a slice, you want to change the pattern, a brilliant shot and it's a fade and it goes in the hole, that is still -1 point. We are trying to change ball flight, because as good as that fade might have been, you still might have the one that goes right to right or left to right even more. Hitting fades, completely fine, obviously, as long as you haven't got the big miss or the weak high right one in you as well. Right, so anything with a left to right shape, immediately -1 point, even if you hit the target. Anything moving right to left that starts left, so start point left going further left, even if it's out of bounds left, that is no points. You do not lose points for that one. Okay. And to get a point, all you have to do is start the ball to the right and bring it back or go past the target, draws or hooks. If it starts right and goes straight, no points. If it starts right and slices, that's that left to right shape, that's -1. So let's show you the point options. Here we go. So I'm setting up here, got my little visual, I've checked my hold, I've worked on my big turn, can I swing it through there? And let's see if we can hit that. Let's go straight for it. We'll have one shot and go for that draw ball flight. Small list of draws, I will take that as a point. And you keep doing this for 5 shots. You can keep this task consistent. You can remove the inner and outer ball if you want. And then you can start to measure how well you're doing. If you get 5 out of 5 points, obviously, that is the goal. And then you can bring the parameters in. So rather than, at the moment, a massive right to left hook would still be a point, you can say, right, now I've got to control it, and my target is maybe 30, 40 yards to land it in there, that type of thing. And we'll try one more, and then you can give this a go at home yourself. 2 out of 2, I'll leave it there. Give it a go. This is a measurable task. You can record how you're doing, and you can see if you're progressing on the range. Makes it easier to take it to the golf course.